Hello and welcome to Medical Dialogues, your daily dose of health and medical news. I'm Mr. Zaman and here's what I bring to you all from the world of medicine. The higher risk of premature death for people with low blood urate levels. New research published in Arthritis and Rheumatology suggests that adults with low blood levels of urate, a breakdown product of metabolism, may be at higher risk of having low skeletal muscle mass and strength and may face a higher risk of early death. The study used 1999 to 2006 data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. Among 13,979 participants aged 20 years and older, low blood urate concentrations were associated with low lean mass, underweight body mass index, and higher rates of weight loss. Low blood urate was associated with a 61% higher risk of death through 2015 before adjusting for body composition, but risk was non-significant after adjusting for body composition and weight loss. These observations support what many have intuited, namely that people with low serum urate levels have higher mortality and worse outcomes, not because low urate is bad for health, but rather than low urate levels tend to occur among sicker people who have lost weight and have adverse body composition, said lead author Joshua F. Baker of the University of Pennsylvania. While this observational study doesn't disprove a causal association, it does suggest that great care is needed in interpreting epidemiologic associations between urate levels and health outcomes. The diagnosis and management of Pollen Food Syndrome. The British Society of Allergy and Clinical Immunology Standards of Care Committee has developed a guideline for diagnosing and managing PFS. The guideline, which is published in Clinical and Experimental Allergy, notes that it's essential to distinguish PFS from a primary allergy to peanuts, tree nuts, or fruit management, focuses on avoiding known trigger foods, which may appear to be simple but can be difficult if coupled with a pre-existing food allergy, or for individuals following a vegetarian or vegan diet. More studies on the effect of PFS on health-related quality of life are needed to dispel the myth that because it usually manifests with mild symptoms, PFS is easily managed and does not adversely affect the individual, the authors wrote. The numbers of food and concern about new food triggers mean dietary restrictions are often overly strict, so more research on novel treatments of PFS, including food immunotherapy, needs to be undertaken, they added. A research method that predicts a region's likelihood of having fish with toxic levels of methylmercury. New research published in Environmental Toxicology and Chemistry may help environmental resource management officials predict which regions are likely to have fish with high concentrations of this toxin without the need for extensive testing. Investigators found that 72% of the variance in average concentrations of methylmercury in largemouth bass between regions of the southeastern US could be explained by the percent coverage of land by evergreen forests, emergent herbaceous wetlands, and pasture or hay. The scientists explain that inorganic mercury from the atmosphere is deposited across the landscape, but that land cover determines how much of this inorganic mercury will be transported to freshwater systems and converted to methylmercury in aquatic environments. Our study suggests that monitoring efforts should focus on ecoregions with land cover types that increase the sensitivity of water bodies to atmospheric mercury deposition, said lead author Ray Drenner of Texas Christian University. We hope our study helps resource managers tasked with issuing fish consumption advisories for mercury, he added. Possible prediction of the risk of osteoporotic hip fracture in men using a blood marker. In a new research published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research, elevated blood levels of a certain chemokine, or small signaling protein that promotes osteoclast formation, were linked with a higher risk of hip fracture in men. The study included 55 men and 119 women who had experienced a hip fracture an average of 6.3 years after their blood was collected. The participants were matched individually to controls who did not develop hip fractures. Investigators observed higher blood levels of the chemokine CXCL9 in the pre-fracture blood samples of men with subsequent hip fractures compared with their non-fracture controls. No such difference was seen in women. The unexpected difference in the results between men and women in our study may be explained by how changes in sex hormone levels during aging could influence the levels and effects of CXCL9 differentially differently in older men and women, explained corresponding author Woon Pui Ko from the National University of Singapore. Our findings open the exciting possibility that early interventions targeting CXCL9 or CXCL9-CXCR3 signaling could be beneficial in preventing hip fractures in older men, added co-corresponding author Christoph Winkler. That's all for today. Stay tuned to Medical Dialogues for latest updates.
Never miss a medical update from Medical Dialogues. Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.